It's been a couple of weeks since we spoke. And the last time we did this, we did the power rankings and we put Phoenix Suns in the top tier. We put Milwaukee Bucks in the top tier. Are they top tier really? I mean, Phoenix Suns have dropped to 7th, 8th spot, something like that. Milwaukee Bucks are dropping games. Giannis is putting up big numbers, but nobody else is doing anything. Are they really top tier? Did we underestimate Denver a bit? Did we underestimate Grizzlies a bit? Lots to talk about. Let's get started. Before we get started, first of all, Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to our 4 listeners.
It's 5. I played on the side.
Oh, it's 5. We have to start off with the epic run that Luka Doncic is having, right? What were those numbers in that one game where he got 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists? By the way, this is not, and when you think that, this is going to be the performance of the season, Donovan Mitchell goes and drops 71. 1 week before Luka, Joker had a big game where he got 40 points and 27 rebounds. The shelf life of these big performances is like 1 week now. Donovan Mitchell scored 71 yesterday and Klay Thompson followed up with a 54 point. So it was forgotten in a few hours, in fact. Lots happening around the league. First of all, let's start off with Luka Doncic. The Mavs are kind of discovering themselves. This is the Mavs that they're playing like the Mavs in the second half of last season, right? Where you know that Luka is going to get you numbers, but when you get double team, triple team, he finds the open man. And that was a given until even in the first half of the season. But now you see the likes of Dinwiddie, you see the likes of Reggie Bullock, you see the likes of Tim Hardaway Jr. hitting those threes. And that is making a big difference to the Mavs. Do you think this is sustainable for the Mavs? I know we spoke about this multiple times where we said the usage rate of Luka is not sustainable when it comes to playoffs. This is a guy who took his team to the playoffs, finals, Western Conference finals. Do you think he can do it again? This is a slightly depleted squad compared to last season just because Brunson is missing. And Brunson is balling out in New York, by the way. But they added Christian Wood, which they lacked last season, right? So, do you think it is a repeatable achievement for them?
I think it is if their shooters step up. Their big problem is, look, everyone knows Luka's going to get double and triple teamed, and that intensity, if anything, has gone up from last season.
Yeah.
Not done, and yet his numbers have ballooned. So he's still the man. Now, across the Western Conference, he's the man for me. Now, his 3 shooters, it's always a bit of a hit and miss, and then the big man was a big miss by and large. Excuse me. Except for that brief spell where Porzingis was fit, their big man was their biggest headache, and we were all wondering why Mark Cuban is sitting chill at that spot. Brunson was a big miss, but it is bound to happen. You'll always have these players that in a particular team become too pricey, but they'll find a taker, like a Knicks or whatever. But Knicks are inferior to the Mavs, so good for the Knicks, good for Brunson. Okay for Mavs, you have to live with these things. If the 3 shooters step up, if their defense steps up, that's the big question mark in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every time they have done well, 2 things have been in common. Luka has been phenomenal in the playoffs, and their defense stepped up when needed.
Yeah.
Clutch shots, clutch defense, they stepped up. Invariably, when these 2 things happen, confidence is high, those 3 start dropping because there's more spacing, the other teams rattled a bit and so on. So these are the 2 key things for me. I'm glad that they've I don't know if I can say they've fixed the big man problem, but they've come close. I think Chris Wood is a decent addition, though I don't think they rate him very highly offensively. Now you see Luka trusting him a little more with the ball. It really wasn't the case in the beginning. And I suffered because I took him in fantasy hoping it, but it's a big step up from a Porzingis who's barely available. Otherwise, not really, but Porzingis who's barely available.
Yeah.
And then, what is the best case big man last season? Like Cleaver and kind of hoping he'll fit, or they'd slot in Dwight Powell at the 5. Yeah. It's huge step up on both of them. Right now, he's not quite the free scoring big man that they would have hoped for. Something like a Turner would have been a game changer for these guys. Or even the perennially rumored to be on the move John Collins from Atlanta. Something like that would have been a good addition, but I think Wood is still a solid rebounding option and a decent rim protector.
Agreed.
So I like the team. I like their chances in the playoffs. It's the same as last season. I don't think they've gone down.
Agreed. I think one more thing that has changed for me, and I don't know if it's even possible, right? Luka was always elite. It seems like in this last 1 month, he stepped up a level. I don't know if that level even existed, but he seems to have found that cheat code where you can do whatever you want, right? He goes to his spot, he bullies the defenders, he hits floaters, hits 3-pointers, misses free throws, gets rebounds, converts them again. It's kind of he's discovered a new level which didn't exist until last season. I didn't even know that there was a level that to be achieved for him, right? Do you see that? Because in the last few games, what are his numbers? 60 points. He scored 50 in the three times in the span of 5 games, and then 39 again last night. Do you think that's even possible? And he's 24 now.
Yeah.
How much more better can he get? And what does the league have to? I mean, should the league be scared?
Yeah, he's sort of in that Giannis phase right now, where we're wondering how many years he has ahead of him, and how much can he improve year on year? Because so far, just like Giannis, every year he's come back stronger.
Yeah.
Except his rookie season, Luka's averaged above 27.5 or 28 or something points per game every season, except his rookie season. And even then he was 21 or 22. What has changed this season is his efficiency numbers have gone up. It's insane. Now, somebody with that higher usage rate, you would expect efficiency to go for a toss.
Yeah.
He's not by any stretch the most efficient player in the league. But a 32-something PAR is insane.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 years ago, this would be league-defining PAR.
Right.
Were it not for Jokic and Giannis, this would be league-defining PAR. I don't know where those guys stand now, but this is pretty insane. 32 is like Jordan-level PAR, right? So it's pretty phenomenal. The bizarre thing is he still has similar chinks in his armor as he did before. And very obvious ones, right? Luka doesn't defend. Spoiler alert. He doesn't even try this.
He's top 5 in steals in the league.
I don't know if steals are
he's no
leading
longer a
metric.
pushover, if I can put it that way. He's not the best defender, but he's no longer a pushover.
If that's fine. We can pick marginal improvements. But he's not a good defender. Let's just say this. He's below average.
Okay.
He used to suck. He sucks less.
Yeah.
He put no effort. It's like James Harden just lazily sticking out a hand and we're saying, okay, that's an improvement. It is, but it's not, wasn't much of a starting point. That's one very, very obvious headache. The other thing, if anyone who's watched Luka enough will know this, in the clutch, he goes into this Kobe syndrome. It was like Kobe not even on a good Lakers team, Kobe on a bad Lakers team.
Yeah.
Where it's the last shot, it's going to be Kobe. There'll be a bunch of bad shots. Now, Kobe being Kobe would make those shots, but even then, not at a very high percentage. Right? It's pretty much a Hail Mary, but they go in more often than not. That's how it's like Aaron Rodgers chucking a Hail Mary. A higher probability, but it's still a bad it's still bad shot selection. So with Luka, that's the issue. It's not only that it's predictable; it's him. Any kid can tell you exactly what's going to happen. He's going to back down a defender. He's going to turn around, try a step back, fade away. That's pretty much. From wherever on the court, that's pretty much all he does. It's almost like an Aryan Robin one-trick pony thing. I wish he would add a little more to his arsenal. That's becoming a little too monotonous and predictable. This was my nitpick chink in his armor. His 3-point shooting still sucks. Like, he's been marginally better than last season, which was even less of a margin better than the season before that. But he's still a below 36 3-point shooter, which... for a player of his caliber, there's still some upside there, right? Yeah. There's still some upside. So my point is, it's not to bring him down. I'm saying that can yet go up in the future. So there is scope for him to be an even better player, freakishly enough. A little better, slightly better defender, better 3-point shooter, and watch out NBA.
Totally. I'm super scared looking at his age and what he's doing right now and what he can achieve. And the one thing that we criticized him the past few seasons was his fitness and how he started off the season slow, right? Where start of the season, first 25% of the season, he was like not really the fittest, and there was criticisms of how he's put on weight and whatnot. This season that's disappeared. He went he played in the Eurobasket League in the summer, and then came out just right out of that. Seemed to be in shape right from game 1 and then dominating the league. Now he's getting better as the season has progressed into the midway stage. It's scary. Sticking with European players as such, is it possible that Jokic is still underrated despite winning 2 MVPs? I think so. Every time I see him play, I'm like, wow, why isn't everyone still talking about him? And like, he's probably the most selfless player who gets triple doubles. Like, Russell Westbrook averaged triple double for a couple of seasons, and he was stat minded, right? He was looking for the triple doubles. Jokic is someone who doesn't look for the triple doubles but ends up getting them because he's so good. He's a pass first player, He doesn't look to score as often. Probably that's a criticism of him. If he could have any criticism.
It could be.
Yeah. He passes first. And I think he's making Aaron Gordon look better than he is. And Aaron Gordon's probably an all-star this season just because of how good Jokic is. I saw a stat that just blew my mind off. Bruce Brown is hitting his true shooting percentage. Bruce Brown is 72% when Jokic is on the floor and 32% when he plays without Jokic. That's how good Nikola Jokic. Is it possible that Jokic is still underrated, and is it possible that he could win a third MVP even?
100% and no. At least not this season. Can he win a third MVP ever? Yeah, I think it's highly likely. This season, nope. We have seen voter fatigue. If Giannis can't get it, I doubt Luka can. Jokic can. Freudian slip, I said Luka because I think he's probably a front runner. For me, so far, it's been between him and Tatum for MVP. That in itself is why I think Jokic is underrated, because even I can't bring myself to name him in my top two in the MVP race. The dude's averaging a triple-double, by the way. He's like shy. 0.1 assists behind a rounding off for a triple-double average.
Yeah, and you talk about usage rates, right? Jokic's usage rate is less than 30%.
Yeah, and by the way, his shot volume has gone down. His scoring has still gone up because he's improved on efficiency. Just phenomenal. Amazing. So, what I wanted to sort of take a brief dip into is why he's underrated. There's no denying he's underrated. For a player of this caliber, just the buzz should be a whole lot more. So maybe he needs a good PR team.
And they're top in the West as well.
Yeah. Needs a good PR team. Needs to be a little more out there. He's kind of in that Kawhi mold where he shows up, he goes away, and that's it. You don't really hear from him. There's no social media.
He smiles a little more than Kawhi.
Sure. There's no smack on social media. There's no crap. He doesn't give you meme-worthy moments like LeBron where I knew that'll happen, whatever.
Yep.
You don't get that from Jokic. So he's not a part of the culture, per se. The other headache with him is play style-wise. It's not... I mean, if you truly appreciate the game, you'll be blown away by the vision. And you know the numbers, you know the kind of impact he's had on the game. But if you're a casual viewer, and I truly believe casual viewers define any sport, because the hardcore guys will follow no matter what. It's the casuals that come and go that define your viewership numbers and everything else. For a casual viewer, Jokic is not the easiest sell in the world. It's not the prettiest looking play style. The passes are unreal, those assists, but that's about it. His shooting, it's kind of sluggish. Movement appears visibly very slow. It's almost like a stuttering frame rate display, and you're not really getting... It's like a buffering internet stream. For me, that's my hypothesis of why I think he's underrated among the fans, because it's not a part of the culture, not out there on social media, and then there's the visual playstyle aspect of it. That's kind of why somebody who would rate Kobe higher than LeBron, apart from the association with the winning memories and all of those things, it's the visible play style. LeBron's a little more clunky, it's a little more power driven and all that. Kobe is more grace and finesse and stuff like that. So that's probably a factor.
All right. Do you think Denver Nuggets have really cemented themselves as the favorites in the West? Like, does the West go through Denver right now?
In the West, yeah, I think so. First of all,
they're struggling, right? Like, there's no other strong candidate if you think about it. Denver is strong. They have the best player, probably top 3 in the West. Pelicans, Grizzlies, lack of experience. Phoenix Suns struggling. Warriors struggling. Portland, you never know. They're somewhere at the bottom. Sacramento, first time in this situation. So I don't see them. Clippers, probably. But how fit are their players going to be? Lakers, not even in contention right now. So given all of that combined, I think Denver have really pulled through.
In the West, 100%. I don't think there's anyone that even comes close. Because here's what the Denver Nuggets can do, which most other teams got. They have a near MVP caliber player, if not an outright favorite. They have a much more complete squad than most teams in the West. And this squad has been running together for a while now. It's not something they put together yesterday. As far as championships go, because now that is the conversation they should be in. They have KCP. That's kind of a hard... Can't beat that argument. KCP, championship team, come on.
Plays solid defense, can hit.
Amazing.
You want him to hit a 3?
Clutch threes. So long as there's a bubble, he's the man. Aaron Gordon's really stepped up. I think last season, that was the big disappointment. Because when he came in Yeah, he came in like a mid-season transfer, so you kind of didn't know what to get that season. And you thought, okay, season 2, 1 full season under Jokic's wing, whatever. Couldn't really figure out his place. And so, in transition terms, what that meant for the Nuggets is they went from this space where they had Will Barton and a few other veterans. And Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
They lost Jeremy Grant. They never really replaced Jeremy Grant in defense, let alone offense. Like, you got Jokic, you'll figure out the offense. You never really replaced Jeremy Grant on defense. Aaron Gordon this season for me has been at the same level or better on defense, because he's versatile with the positions he defends, and then his attack game has just gone next level with Jokic's passing, same as all of the other shooters and whatever. They're a complete team, man. Jamal Murray's back. And he's barely even playing mid-tier basketball.
Slowly and getting 20 points now and then. Michael Porter Jr. just goes off once in 3 games. Bruce Brown off the bench, Bones Highland off the bench. It's a nice team. Aaron Gordon, meanwhile, he reminds me of what Andrew Wiggins was doing last season. Highly underrated, like not really on everyone's radar.
Correct.
And a supporting player makes him look really good, right? Like Steph Curry was that person last season. Draymond Green was that person last season. Now it's Jokic. And Gordon's playing a similar role, guards the best player on the opposing team, gets you 20 points every game. That's exactly what Wiggins did last season. And he was pivotal in Warriors. He was probably the second best player in the
team. Oh, for sure.
Right, so I think Gordon is in that. He's playing similar role to what he did last season.
So my favorites in the West, for sure. Is it really even that tough to pick out? Assume that Minnesota and down, all of the teams that are not. Yeah, I mean, all the teams that are not in the current playoff picture or even the play-in picture, let's assume are not going to make it for a second. Even if they do make it, they'll be on the fringes. They're not really going to, rattle feathers. Jazz, they've finally gone into Wembanyama mode. Great to see. They've now dropped to the last spot in the play-in this thing.
Well, credit to the Jazz that they still make every game exciting. Every game is close, even if
they're fun.
Yeah,
they're fun. But I enjoy watching the Timberwolves also because it's always a lottery. You never know which version of Ant you're going to get. It's like Desperate Housewives almost. But everyone else, look at the West. They fucking suck. Warriors have no clue what's going on.
Well, they won 5 in a row, so...
sure, but
they're rising.
Yeah, with the Warriors, it's like get to the playoffs and then anything can happen with them. Right? That threat is always there. That threat is always there. It's the same with the Clippers. If everyone's fit and they're in the playoffs, for me, they're still the team to beat in the West. If. It's a big if.
They have 2 lineups that they can field.
So. Yeah, exactly. They're the Man City of basketball. So they've got that going. But both of these are ifs. There's a lot of dependency on factors working out in their favor. Barring these two, the West is a joke compared to like the Grizzlies are whatever, they're going to shoot their mouth off, get embarrassed. I'm going to say that until they prove me wrong.
Yep.
Pelicans, Zion out again. Ingram's been out for a while. It remains to be seen what they do. Dallas Mavs, except for the Nuggets, I'd be happy picking them so long as they can keep improving their defense. Kings again, same issue as Grizzlies last season. It's their first time in this sort of situation, and honestly, you don't look at that squad and think they've got even one player that can decide a series. Nobody gives you that confidence.
They could probably make the playoffs and first round.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. That's it, man. Everything else is same old. Booker, Lillard, nice to see you. Have fun in the playoffs. We know you'll exit at some point, but enjoy yourselves.
Okay. The Warriors, though, you briefly mentioned them. A final homestand after the terrible... I don't think I've ever seen a record like this where you have... On one side, you have the worst record away, and on the other side, you have the best home record. Has it ever happened? I don't think so.
Yeah, man. Philadelphia 76ers, like 2-3. The last Ben Simmons season.
Yeah.
Okay, asterisk. The last season when Ben Simmons didn't sit out for the whole fucking season, they were phenomenal at home and they sucked away from home.
I agree. Yeah. They had like 4 losses or 5 losses. I remember that. Correct. You're right. No. Yeah. In a way, do you think the Steph Curry injury has kind of been nice for the Warriors because their bench players, their role players are stepping up and now they know that they can't depend on Steph to bail them out every single game, right? The game he got injured, he had 38 through 3 quarters and Warriors lost that game. So it was how dependent they were on Steph. Now you see Poole stepping up. He's averaging 30 plus. Clay has averaged 30 plus in the last 5-6 games. Draymond has been sensational. I mean, if you look at box scores, you won't see anything what he's doing. But if you see the games, you see that he's the leader. He's been sensational. Looney yesterday with the game winner. He's got 20 rebounds.
Yeah.
He's been amazing, and he's been a big game player always. You saw it in the playoff last season as well. But you saw Kuminga step up now. He's getting decent minutes. I know he sat out yesterday, but he's been getting decent minutes. Moody's getting decent minutes. I think in a way the Steph Curry injury has kind of proved to be good for the Warriors because now their bench, their reserves are stepping up. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, which begs the question: should Steve Kerr, once Steph steps back full time and full fledged, should Steve Kerr actually reconsider how he uses Steph? Because the team's pretty good, man, without Steph. Poole's shown his prowess again. It's not like the skill disappeared, but the numbers have started coming in again. Clay sort of reminded everyone what he can do.
Yeah.
In any damn game. That's what makes him so dangerous. Draymond's been at it for more than a year now, but thankfully now, even without Steph on the court, all those memes about Draymond taking a vacation whenever Steph gets injured, that's been put to bed. Wiggins tailed off a little.
Wiggins has not been playing. He's missed for like now the last 2 weeks now. He's missed like 7-8 games. He fell sick, then he recovered, then he fell sick again. I don't know what's going on.
It's kind of an indictment of how much I've been following the Warriors, to be honest, man. Like the Jazz are more fun.
The terrible record they had.
Yeah, the Jazz are more fun, exactly. But yeah, so maybe once Steph comes back, they can rejig their lineup a bit because they were going super Steph heavy initially.
He's been playing for like 40 minutes almost every game.
Maybe they can sort of ease off that pressure a little bit, at least in the regular season, but still find a way to win games. If anyone can figure it out, they can. But it's about time to kind of piece that.
And Steph is dangerous when he returns from injury. You saw that in the year that he returned after
when he broke his hand.
And then you saw that last season when he missed the stretch before the playoffs. He came back for the playoffs. He started off from the bench, if you remember, in the playoffs. And then he just went berserk.
Yeah, even the season he broke his hand, the first season that Clay was out with injury, Steph sort of started okayish, then he broke his hand. That was like a 1.5 month injury. They put him out for 4 months or something. Because
he came back, played one game, and then the league shut down.
Yeah, and then he came back, the planes happened, all that happened. He was pretty good even then. And I know this because I held on to him in INJ in fantasy for like 3 months, knowing he'll give me big payoff.
Talking about historic performance, we have to mention about Donovan Mitchell's 71-point performance yesterday. First of all, that's the highest points scored in a game since Kobe Bryant. Emulating Devin Booker's 70 that he scored for a losing cause, right? Against the Boston Celtics. This one came with a little more, had a little more relevance to it, if I could put it in a way. First of all, tied the game. They were trailing by 15 points against Chicago Bulls. Came back, missed the free throw again. Is this a new trend now? You miss free throws and make the game winner. And then scored 13 in overtime to just beat the Bulls. First of all, good for the Bulls that they lost, that they can tank now. But Donovan Mitchell, man, have we been sitting on Donovan Mitchell? Have we been rating Donovan Mitchell too low until now?
Nope. We've been rating him exactly correctly. And nobody said he's a bad player. He's a phenomenal player. I think sometime last year when we were talking about, I think just before the playoffs when we were discussing, where does he stack up? Like, what do the Jazz do and whatever. And my whole thing was, even Jamal Murray elevated in one series, at least. When's Donovan Mitchell? Unfortunately for him, Donovan Mitchell also elevated in that series. Jamal just went like a notch higher. But when's that going to happen? Because he's proven that he's an all-star caliber player. Now, the guard position is so stacked, sometimes you're going to make it to the lineup, sometimes not. But he's proven he's at that level. 2, he's proven he can take teams to the playoffs. He's proven he can perform. None of these things are in doubt. He has the same Dev Booker situation going on, where Booker at least has been to the finals. This guy not yet. But it's like, when are you guys going to take over the franchise and run it? Booker has to do it without Paul and all of the other stuff going on around him. I think he's been fairly decent in that regard in the last couple of seasons. Donovan Mitchell hasn't yet elevated himself to even that level. Unfortunately for both these guys, Trae Young went a notch further because with pretty much no other support crew except a decent squad, he went to the conference finals. So for me, Donovan Mitchell should be in that conversation of, can he pull a franchise to, say, a conference finals or, better yet, an NBA finals sometime soon. That's the only thing that he's yet to prove before he can, of course, go into the MVP or a finals MVP sort of mode. So nothing surprising. 71. Okay, great. Congratulations. It's no coincidence that he surpassed Booker, who was, I think he would have had the previous highest tally since Kobe. Kobe's 81. He surpassed Booker. Both of them are pretty much in the same boat. But one's been to the finals, the other hasn't. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same boat.
You kind of mentioned that how he might or might not make the All-Star game. I think moving to the Eastern Conference actually turned out to be good for him because he might make the All-Star game now as a
Yeah, because the East has no guards. Like, East is all...
because who are you competing against? Kyrie Irving,
Yeah.
James Harden, Trae Young. I think you'll be two. I think you'll be two, at least top two amongst the four of them. Whereas if you're in the West, one spot is taken by Luka Doncic. If Steph is back, Steph takes the other spot. Ja
There's
Morant is
Booker, there's Morant, it's
Dame
just
Lillard.
stacked. Yeah.
So I think it's good for Donovan Mitchell. He'll probably be an All-Star starter this season, and much deserved, well deserved, I would say. Sticking to the East, the top of the East is now dominated by the Boston Celtics, and guess what? The Brooklyn Nets. We've thrashed the Brooklyn Nets for as long as I can remember, since they lost that series to Milwaukee Bucks the whole of last season and then early this season. They've won 12 in a row, and I think they won 15 of the last 16 games. Is it finally time to take the Brooklyn Nets seriously?
No, we've never not taken them seriously. The problem is how long does it last before it comes crashing down?
It's been a month now since Kyrie Irving has said something stupid or tweeted something stupid. It's been a month that Ben Simmons has played regularly and he's played decently well. He doesn't need to score, but he's defending well, rebounding, getting the assists.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, he never stopped playing. So Kevin Durant, I'm not surprised at all. It's surprising with the other two though. And do you think that can continue? Do you think Kyrie Irving can stay a season without getting stupid?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think Kyrie can do it. The question is not
here, so he needs to.
if only Kyrie had that kind of worldly awareness. If only he gave a damn enough to take care of these things. No. Can he stay without saying something? So yeah, I think he can. I don't think
he's lost enough.
No, I think Kanye West has gone so far ahead of him now that Kyrie is just like, whoops, maybe this wasn't the greatest boat in the world. And also Kyrie's never gone into full hate speech territory. He kind of dipped his feet in the water
like
there.
Playing the devil's advocate.
Absolute dumbass stuff.
Yeah.
He thinks he's stirring the pot with intellectual conversation. But it's just, what the fuck are you saying, Kyrie? He's more in that mold. But hey, as long as he can stay on court, which I believe he can this season. Durant's been phenomenal. Barring his injury, he's always been phenomenal before and after. So there's really no surprise there. So then, what question marks do you have of the Nets ever? Right now, Ben Simmons has fully gone into Draymond territory, where he has given up on any hope of absolutely. Which is initially we thought he was a excuse me. Ben Simmons makes me choke up. Initially, at least I thought he was a Giannis level talent, that he could elevate to that level. That's not happening. Which then led us to think maybe 2-3 years ago that okay, maybe he's more of a Draymond to Embiid's Steph.
Yeah.
Different play styles, but similar kind of role. He's playing that role pretty well, I must say. And for pretty a KD that fought with Draymond and exited the Warriors for more than one reason, but that also. He's basically found himself a $1 trillion Draymond. I like their makeup. Now, the only question you would ask ever of the Nets is, how can their defense hold up in the playoffs? Yeah. But with the Nets, the answer is always, with this kind of offense, do you really need your defense to hold up that much?
Yeah, you don't need to be the best defense, right? You just need to be an average defense.
Yeah, and it's almost like, you know how in football, Brazil's motto famously for a long time was, you don't have to stop the other team from scoring, you just have to score one more at least. And you've got the game. I think Nets have been in that mold for a while now. That's how they've always built their squads around KD and Kyrie and Harden and all of that. The more stacked their offense got, the more depleted their defense got, and that's true even today. And Nick Claxton is your amazing starting big man, right? So as so long as they can get Harris and Curry and the likes to keep dropping those threes, Patty Mills, whoever they can find to come. TJ Warren stepped up, and the Bubble Jordan has really come back from injury. I like it.
His feet.
I love it. He's the Jordan Clarkson. So they've got so much offensive firepower, and they don't suck defensively. For me, that's good enough. So long as they're fit, they are a tour de force in the East.
Agreed. I'm not going to talk about the Celtics because Celtics are doing what Celtics does best, which is win games and win games comfortably. All right. I think we spoke about a lot of teams. I know we're not going to speak about the Boston Celtics or Milwaukee Bucks or Philadelphia 76ers, which we'll keep for the next episode. But as always, great fun talking with you, and I'll catch you next week.
Wakanda forever. Just felt like saying a Kyrie thing, just random. Alright. Alright, cheers, man. Bye.
Bye.